Fanekise uphana ngawo omayelana ke nalona owesibili wangena lapha uthi ube nelokhu njani ama dreadlocks. Is it the first or the second intruder?
My apologies, my lord. The first intruder who had dreadlocks.
Umthokozi sinaye ke uphane ngaleyo ngcazelo enjalo ke ngumfanekiso onjalo malana ke nalowo oqala obe nama dreadlocks. Ubufakazi bakho ngoba uphana ngaleyo ngcazelo ubufakazi kufana nalobuka ngamanye amazwi umthokozi sinayo ukukhuluma kanjalo ukuthi lo oqala ube nama dreadlocks i-description aphana ngayo.
In other
words,
yeah,
I hear you.
Thank you. And furthermore, your description of that very same suspect, who is the first intruder, is also accords with what Ms. Gladness Kumalo would come and tell this court about how the suspect was.
Ganti ke futhi le description yakho yaleyo suspect obenomsolwa iyafanana nale ezokhulunywa uye lona uGladness Kumalo ukuthi lo msolwa ube njani. Ngiyakuzwa lo?
Yeah, ngiyakuzwa.
I hear that as well.
Actually, this is what Gladness Kumalo would come and tell this court. I'm taking this from one of the statements that she had made.
Manje nakho lokho azokhuluma la enkantolo ngizothi nje oqapuna lokho akukhulumele kulesi statement.
Where she says the first one that was carrying a firearm had short dreadlocks that hang up to his neck.
La esho khona ke ukuthi lo oqala bephethe isibhamu ube nama dreadlocks ayefika la entanyeni.
Yebo ngiyakuzwa.
Yes, I hear that as well, advocate.
Does that accord with what you've just told this court?
Ngabe lokho kuvumelana nalokho okuthulela enkantolo wena?
Angazi mina bengikhuluma ngestatement sami ngazi ke zabanye ngaze ngizifunde.
Well, I was merely presenting the content of my statement before this honorable court. As far as other statement is concerned, I did not read their statement.
I'm not trying to refer you to your statement or their statement. All that I'm saying is your description that you gave to this court about the first intruder who had dreadlocks accords with the description that was given to this court by Mtokozi Sitwala and the description that Ms. Kumalo, Gladness Kumalo would come and give this court.
Ngikushoyo nje ukuthi wena ke incazelo ophane ngayo ngesithombe ke esimayelana nommangalelwa okanye umsolwa wokuqala lo obenama dreadlocks. Leyo ncazelo iyavumelana nobufakazi okanye incazelo emayelana ke nomfanekiso kalo umsolwa wokuqala. Ephanwe okanye ethulula enkantolo umthokozi Sithwala kanye ke nalokho kuzokhulunywa Khumalo Gladness Kumalo ilokho engikusho.
Ngiyakuzwa.
Yes, I hear you.
Thank you. You said from the questioning of on behalf of first and the second accused, yeah, that the item that you saw in the possession of this first suspect, that's now the person with dreadlocks, was a firearm, and it looked to you then it was a firearm that had a wheel. Not so?
Usho njalo ke mayelana ke nomsolwa wokuqala ukuthi lo muntu ombone ephethe isibhamu ubephethe isibhamu esasibuka ngazothi sine sontwana nje.
Yebo ngiyakuzwa.
That is correct. Yes, I hear you.
Thank you. Now just be frank and honest with the court. Frank and honest with this court. Would that have been a revolver?
Akuthembakala nje la enkantolo. Ngabe mhlawumbe leso sibhamu bekuyi revolver.
Angiyazi revolver with isibhamu esinjalo.
I don't know what type of firearm is a revolver.
I know, Mr. Madlala, that that's a cut and dry answer. But really, don't you know what a revolver is? Haven't you seen a revolver?
Ngempela i-revolver uyazi?
Mhlawumbe ungamtshela ngesizulu, isingisi leso sikhulumayo.
That is English. Perhaps you can tell that to me in Zulu.
In Zulu, it is called ivolovolo.
Ivolovolo. Yeah.
Haven't you heard
Yes,
of the
that's
word
what
ivolovolo? Not to
Ivolovolo.
crash. I'm not talking crash. I'm talking ivolovolo.
Sikhuluma ngokuqasha. Sikhuluma ngemvolovolo.
Ngiyengilizwe lokamvolobolo, yes.
Yes, I would hear that word imvolovolo.
Really, don't you know what a revolver look like?
Ngempela wazi ukuthi imvolovolo ibuye kanjani okanye i-revolver.
Angikaze nje ngiyazi i-revolver ukuthi isibhamu kanjani i-revolver.
I have never known it before. What type of a firearm is a revolver?
Thank you. But now, this one, a distinctive feature of it looked like a wheel.
Kodwa ke lesi sibhamu sasibuya ngathi sinelo kunjani isonto lapho kulo.
Bese ngishilo ukuthi yes, usibuka wami ngasibuka ngaphambili.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I've already said that. Yes. And when I looked at it, I saw it from the front portion of it.
Thank you. Now, you gave a description of the second intruder, and you described him as the second intruder. You described him, actually I don't know whether it was a he or a she, but you described the second intruder as follows.
Manje uye waphana ngencazelo yalo umngeneli wesibili. Ukuthi ke umlisa noma owesifazane, kodwa ke na indlela ke uyisebenzisile ukuthi wena uphane ngesithombe esimalana ke nomngeneli wesibili.
You said you described him in terms of his height.
Akwazi ke uphana ngencazelo mayelana ke nobude bakhe.
You described him in terms of the beard that was trimmed around his lips and a little bit on his lower jaw. I mean, on his lower
Wamchaza ke
lip.
ngaleyo ndlela ke amadevu ke ayahambela emlonyeni ewatrimile kanti ke namadetshana nje ayikhona khona la kule ndebe ngaphansi.
Yebo, but advocate ngimkhombile wathi awazi ukuthi is a she or he, ngimkhombile mos advocate bukhona.
But advocate, I did point this person out. Why would you then say that you are not sure as to whether it is he or she? Right when you were present, I was able to point the person out.
No, look, I'm talking about a suspect as when you are seeing him at the scene, not what is transpiring here at court.
Angikhulumi ngalokho kwenzakala la enkantolo. Ngikhuluma ngelokho njani ngomsolo lapha endaweni esigameko.
Okay.
All right.
So those are all the features through which you're saying you were able to identify him.
Izona impawu ke othi ukwazile ukuthi ungamkhomba ngazo.
Yes, besides impawu ngiyambona nje. Ngingakuchaza futhi lokho.
And besides those features, I could see him. I saw him before when he was in front of me.
Thank you. Now let us stretch this a bit. You know the trimming around, just before I go on, I see there's a trimming around your beard there. Would the trimming have been what you having there on you?
Singakayi kudeke ngoba sizoyilula nje lento. Ngiyabona ukuthi nawe ke utrimile nje lapho. Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Now, you would agree with me that the trimming is not a permanent feature. The little bit on the on the lower lip is also not a permanent feature.
Ungavumelana nami ukuthi ukuthima kanjalo akushona into ke okanye uphawu uzohlala lukhona nje lingeke lisuke.
Yebo kuyiqiniso lokho.
Nalezi inwele ezincanyana nje ngaphansi kwalomthetho.
Yebo
Yes, it is
kuyiqiniso.
indeed so.
Now, let's assume, because you've just said those are some of the qualities that enabled you to identify the person that you say you saw as a second intruder. Assume those descriptive features are taken away. Would you still be in a position to identify him.
Ake sithi ke lezo impawu siyayisusa. Ngoba usushilo ke ukwazile ukumbona ngalezo impawu. Ake sithi siyayisusa ke lezo impawu. Ungakhona ke ukuthi ulokumkhomba ukuthi uye lo.
Ngisho ngakunda imbungculi chiscope ngisangamkhomba.
Even if he could be shaving off his head or what we call the cheese coat, I can still point him out.
Thank you. Now, this incident happened in 2014, not so?
Les kama kwesenzeke ngo 2014 akunjalo.
Yebo kunjalo.
It is so.
To be precise, 26 October 2014.
26 October 2014.
Yebo.
Yes.
Now, again, when for the first time after 2014, did you see the person who you think could have been the person that you saw on the 26th of October 2014 being the second intruder?
Manje ke wambona nini emva kwesigaba esengi 26 esika October 2014. Emva kwaleso sigaba esengi 26 waphinde wambona nini ukuthi yilo mlisa lo. Ngicabanga ukuthi uyena lo yana ke okwaku ungenele kwesibini ngalolo suku.
Ngambona ngosuku lokuqala ngizotestify la ecourt.
I saw him on the first day that I came to testify here in court again.
Do you still remember when was that?
Uyakhumbula ukuthi kwakunini?
Noma ngakhumbula usuku ukuthi wakunini, but ngambona uqala ukumbona ngambona la ecourt.
Even though I cannot remember the day, the exact date as to when was that, but the very first time or the first time that I saw him after that incident was right here in court.
You know, I would be assisting you if I knew the date and the year. Unfortunately, I don't know it.
Bengakusiza khona lapho uma ngabe bengazi date mhlawumbe nonyaka bengakusiza kodwa ngeshwa leyo mniningwane anginayo.
Yes. Siyafana noma nginayo.
Yes, even myself I don't have those details.
Now, on the basis of what you've just said, that you can't remember the date and probably the year, would you then agree with me that with the lapse of time, memory fades away?
Yabona ke ngenxa ukuthi awusakhumbuli imininingwane leyo ungavumelana nami ke ukuthi emva kwesikhathi ukukhumbula komuntu kuyasuleka engqondweni yakhe.
Ngeke ngachaza lokho ekuqaleni ngikuvumi lokho ezinye izinto ungayikhohlwa ezinye izinto awuzikhohlwa.
I won't agree with you. I won't really agree with you because certain things you can forget, but other things you can't forget them.
Mr. Madlala, don't be on the defensive. Is it not a natural thing that with the lapse of time, memory fades away?
Ungazami ukuyivikela. Akuyona ke into ejwayelekile nje ukuthi emva kwesikhathi esithize khona into ezithize oyikhohlwayo.
Yes, ikhona into ethizo oyikhohlwa ngiyakuvuma lokho.
Yes,
Kodwa
I agree.
le incident angimkhohlwa yena.
Yes, I agree with you that there are certain things that one can forget. But pertinent to this incident, that one I cannot forget.
Thank you. Let us try to revive our memories of when did you testify for the first time after this incident having taken place in 2014. Could that have been in 2020, this year, 2023?
When what was happening?
When he testified for the first time here at court after the incident.
Emva
His
kwalesi sigameko
testimony.
mawuzothola ubufakazi bakho khona la enkantolo singasho ukuthi uweza khona kulonyaka 2023 isigameko senzeke ngo-2014 wena weza la enkantolo kokuqala ukuzothola bakho ubufakazi singasho yini ukuthi kulonyaka u-2023
Yes, angiphindela futhi.
futhi isigameko senzeke
nge-2014.
2014
Yes.
ke wena ke wase uza la enkantolo uzothola ubufakazi bakho.
Yes.
Ngabe ke mawuza okokuqala uzothola ubufakazi bakho la enkantolo. Beku kulonyaka lo u-2023.
No.
No, it wasn't 2023.
More or less, when was that?
Bekungaba nini?
Sikhulumile le nto ukuthi noma ngingasekho sure, but kwakusuku lami lokuqala ngifikile la ecourt.
We did speak about that. So that even though I cannot remember the date, but It was my first day coming here at court.
Thank you. My Lord, I'm not so sure if the state can assist us with the first day on which you came to testify, because I don't want to keep on repeating the same thing when the state can actually come to our rescue in this point.
What does it change? Because he can't remember the date, but what he can remember is the factual fact, if I must be tautologist, that it was the first time he came to testify in this court.
Yes, my
That's
Lord.
what he says.
I don't dispute that, but I'm slowly but surely trying to drive to a certain point. Now, I don't want to put the cart before the horses, my Lord.
You must tell him the date, because he can remember.
Which is the reason why I'm asking from the court, my Lord, whether will it be a train smash if I really request the state to assist us with that date.
Mr. Baloyi, what's your view?
We quickly checking that, Manot. It did appear it was September of 2022.
Thank you, madam. My colleague has just come to my and your rescue about the date.
Usesizileke lapha nomshushisi.
Sibonke.
Sesizile.
That is September 2022.
To September 2022.
That is September 2022.
September 2022. All right.
Now, would you also agree with me that it is a natural phenomenon that when years go by, a person loses certain traits in terms of their identification and characters?
Ungasho mhlawumbe ngokwemvelo kuyinjwayelo ke ukuthi emva kwesikhathi esithize umuntu ke alahlekelwe yindlela akwazi ukukhumbula noma ukubona izinto ngakhona okanye imikhuba akwaziyo ke ukubona izinto ngayo emva kwesikhathi lokho kuyashintsha uyakuvuma lokho
Angeke ngakuvuma, angeke ngakuphika futhi lokho.
I would not concur, neither will I dispute that as well.
Let me put it this way. Actually, this is what I meant to say. That as a person is growing, or as the years go by,
Ake ngibeka le ndlela umuntu ke ma ekhula noma kudlula iminyaka
it is a natural phenomenon that how they look 10 years ago will not be exactly the same on how they look after 10 years. Angazi ngibeke kanjani ngesilungu.
Imvelo isifundisa leyo nto leyo kanye isibonisa leyo nto leyo ukuthi umuntu ke uma ngabe ke esekhula ake sithi ukhula ngeminyaka ewu10 emva kweminyaka ewu10 akasafani nalenkathi engakabi naleyo minyaka eyongezwe ngeminyaka ewu10
As it is a court, my lord.
I don't know whether such a general statement is correct to put to witness to comment. Indicate what the basis of his proposition is so that this witness can be able to testify. But absent that, my lord, we submit that is too general a statement for this witness to comment on.
It is the court, my lord. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the question. What I'm trying to siphon from this witness is, it's not a natural thing that when a person is growing old, he basically will change. By Ashwaba, it's like a person changes from who they are. From 10 years ago, angazi ngesilungu ngibeke kanjani, my lord.
ngaleyo ndlela ke ukuthi emva kweminyaka ewu10 akasafanani ngendlela abukeka ngakhona emva kweminyaka ewu10 phambi kokuthi kundlule yomnyaka ewu10 futhi umuntu ke njengoba esho ke futhi ke mhlambe kube nama wrinkles kona la ebusweni enjalo.
Now, I'm not specifically referring to what we have pointed to this court. It's just a natural thing. Does that not happen naturally?
Into eza ngokwendlela into ejwayelekile.
Ya ngiyakuvumela lapho but usamncane lo akayikho into engashintsha mhlawumbe usenenyamele usamncane. Usamncane and that time
I agree with you.
that time benganawo nanomzimba manje singiyabona ngathi that time ubusamncanyanyana futhi yes.
Thank you.
But akushintsha ibuso.
I agree with you. He's still very young. Not to such an extent that he would be hanging or baggy skins on his face or baggy skin on his face. Yes, I would want to perhaps concede to the fact that back then he was a little slimmer in terms of his physique. But right now he's gained a bit of weight. But nothing much has changed about him.
Ngiyakuvumela advocating lo kusho hayi ukuthi ngiyaphikisa.
On that very note, I agree with you. I don't dispute it.
You just mentioned in the same line, in the same sentence in your answer, that there's a change that is happening in this accused person, in accused number 2. Then he was slim, now he's a bit chubby. Is that not a change?
Sokushilo ke na ukuthi ube izaqile ngalesa sikhathi okwamanje usotheke ubanga umzimba. Akusilona ushintsho lo.
Angikuphikisi nabo njengoba sengisho ukuthi ngiyakuvumela.
Thank you.
I do not dispute that. As I've already indicated that I agree or I concur with you.
Thank you, sir. As it is a court, my lord, I think I've opened my notes on a very wrong page. Where are my spectacles? Oh. Thank you. You had told this court that you had come from Durban to Gauteng and you had an injury on your toe.
Wathi ngadolo kubena waqhamuka eDurban uze la eGoli kanti ulimele kulo boss.
100% right.
You are 100% correct.
Now, were you using 2 crutches or you used only 1 crutch?
Ubusebenzisa icrash lot or ama crash amabili.
Engasebenzisa omabili.
Both of the crutches were used by myself.
Thank you. Did you perhaps have a, now that's that weight, a plaster of Paris or a castor plaster? I see you laughing. I think you had it somewhere.
Buna ucement.
Yeah, bukhona la emnweni lo omkhulu onyawo. Then right around bekubanjwe la ukuthi kunganyakazi lo jikela unyawo kanje ujikeleza ubambe unyawo ukuthi kunganyakazi la. Yes.
Yeah, I had that plaster on that big toe,
Okay.
as well as the rest of the foot was to immobilize that very part of the foot so that the big toe should not be affected by movements.
Thank you. No, I hear you well. I hear you well.
Kuzwa kahle, kuzwa kahle.
Now let us try to revisit the scene in the house.
I guess buyele laphana ke endlini. I guess buyele endlini.
Now, according to your version, is that as the skirmishness, the wrangling in the house happened, you basically were fighting. I mean, when I say you, I mean personally yourself. You basically fought against the second intruder.
Ukutsho kanjalo khona lapha endlini uye walwisa lona umngenelo wesibini. Sengikhuluma ngawe.
Yebo kunjani?
Yes, it is so.
And Senzo as well, as the wrangling was happening in the kitchen, he also was holding the hand of the second intruder.
Kanti ke uSenzo ube bambeke isandla salomngenelo wesibini.
Yebo
Manje
kunjani?
kwenzeka leyo nto.
Yebo kunjani?
That is so.
And it is your testimony that it could have been by mistake that Zandi told this court that you picked up a crutch and hit the person that you attempted to hit with those crutches. In fact, you never used the crutches, you only used the clenched fist.
Uthi ke kwaba iphutha ukuthi uZandi athi wena wathatha leyo crash washaya lo muntu. Kahle kahle ke azange uyisebenzise leyo crash wavela wamshaya nje ngesibhakela.
Yes, ngasebenzisa isibhakela ngaze ngiyisebenzise i-crutch.
Yes, I never used the crutch. I used the clenched fist.
So I assume that it didn't come to your mind that you should pick up the crutch and use it as a traditional weapon.
Azange kufikele lokho ke ukuthi uthathe le crash umshaya ngayo ngenjwayelo okanye ngendlela ke esijwayele ukwenza ngakhona ukuthi uyisebenzise njengesikhali.
Akungifikelanga.
It didn't cross my mind.
Thank you, sir. Now, at that moment when you and Senzo were fighting the second intruder, could you realize what was happening to the first intruder, the gentleman with the firearm, or the person, let's not call them gentlemen, the person who had a firearm?
Ngenkathi ke wena noSenzo niphe kwalo ummangalelo wesibini okanye lo umngeneleli lo muntu owesibini owangenelela lapho singathi umlisi lo umngeneleli nabona wabona ukuthi kwakwenzakalani ngalo owokuqala ngaleso sikhathi.
Angibonanga because babe ngala esayidini lami mina ngangila sibhekene nalo. So ngangizwa nje umsindo wezinto angibonanga.
No, I couldn't observe what was happening. They were just on my side, adjacent to me, behind me. And mine was to focus on this commotion that was in front of me.
Okay, thank you. Let me borrow from the process that is normally used by my colleagues to indicate exactly the points on the pictures where you were and everything. So you kindly beam us the kitchen. Don't be angry, as it is the court matter, I'm just requesting my colleagues to beam us the inside of the kitchen. I don't know what exactly. I think photo number 15 will do. Are you able to enlarge it? Thank you. Now, it's common cause. It can't be disputed that this is where a lot of the wrangling take place. Thank you.
Asiphikisani nalokho ukuthi futhi ke okuningi kokulwisana khona lapho bekwenzakala ngapha.
Yes.
That is correct.
Now, in relation to the situation in the kitchen, can you please indicate where was the second intruder standing as you and Senzo were busy fighting him?
Ulona wesibili kuphi ngenkathi wena noSenzo nimlwisa.
Ubemla. La.
Okay.
Just right there.
Yeah.
There's a point between the door and as well as the cabinet that was pointed by the witness.
Thank you.
With the light, yeah.
Then, immediately, where was he facing? Was he facing towards the door or he had his back against the door?
Ubebheke emnyango mhlambe umhlane ubuqondene nomnyango.
Ubebheke ngaphakathi endlini.
He was facing inside. In other words, he had his back against the door.
Now, am I correct to understand it that Senzo was facing him? In other words, they were looking at each other face to face.
Yes.
That is correct.
And when you hit him with the clenched fist, I don't want to assume, where were you? Were you on his side? Were you behind Senzo when you hit him?
Bengiseceleni kwasani Senzo bemla lo muntu bemla
Yes.
Senzo abambana naye phambi kwami mina bengimla eceleni.
Oh, okay.
I was just alongside Senzo. That is where the person was
Eduze
standing
nje yes.
against the door.
Yes.
And then in front of him was Senzo.
Yes.
Just next to Senzo, on the right-hand side of Senzo,
Yes.
it was myself.
Thank you. Now, you are asked you a question to indicate as to where was the the first intruder, the Rastafarian, the person who had dreadlocked.
What yena ube kuphi wama-dreadlocks?
In relation to the kitchen, yes.
asikho esinye isithombe esivela kakhulu but bebesamuel bona la
Okay.
There was
Samuela.
some there. Isn't there another picture perhaps that has got a white
bebesamuela
picture?
yes
They were somewhere there. The bottom of that picture, right at the bottom of that picture, at the
Yes.
center bottom,
Yes.
it's just been pointed out.
because ikhishi lakhona lincane
Yeah.
It's a small,
Yes.
confining space, that kitchen.
So would I then be correct to understand you to say that the first intruder who had dreadlocks was a bit behind you as you were fighting the second intruder with Senzo?
Futhi wena noSenzo bandlusa lona wesibili lo wokuqala wama-dreadlocks ube ngasemvanyana kwakho.
yebo kunjalo
Yes, it is so.
And you, to be honest with you, unless we're going to tell this court that you had eyes that could see at the back as well, you could really not tell what was happening at your back.
Ubungeke usho ukuthi kwenzakala ngasemuva. Ngaphandle kokuthi mhlambe ke wena ubunamehlo nje ngasemhlanje. Kodwa ubungeke uwazi ukuthi kwenzakala ngasemuva.
yebo ngeke ngikwazi ukusho because kune-movement so ngeke ngikwazi ukusho but babe la emva kwami nje
Yes, I cannot tell what was happening. Even though there were some movements, I cannot really tell what was happening.
Thank you, sir. Now, how long have you known Senzo up until the 26th of October 2014?
Ubusumazi isikhathi singakanani-ke ukufika kuleyo date yange-26 ka-October 2014?
ayiside isikhathi noma ngisiside kakhulu
It was a very long time.
because even umthoko simaze kamuva sinosenzo even
Very
nasenzo umaze kamuva yes
It was a very long time that I've known Senzo.
Besame
Even
isikole
Togo,
esisodwa.
we only knew him later on, myself and Senzo.
Thank you. Let us try to give an estimate. It could have been more than 20 years.
20 years mhlawumbe?
yes more than yes
More than 20 years, yes.
yes
Thank you. Now, I'm going to request you to listen very carefully to the following.
Manje ulaleleke ulalelisise lokho engizokukhuluma manje.
The court, this court,
Uyayibona le nkantolo esikuyo manje.
has heard testimony from two people who were in the house that day, specifically Mthokozisi and Zandile.
Inkantolo ebuzile ubufakazi babantu ababili abebekhona laphana endlini. Kakhulukazi ke sesikhuluma ngaye lona ke uMthokozisi noZandile Khumalo.
ya ngiyakuzwa
I hear that.
Now, both of them had told the court that the wrangle in the kitchen between Senzo, no, the wrangle in the kitchen was between Senzo and the person who had dreadlocks.
Both labo bantu bathi ukubambana lokho okwakwenzeka ngasekhishini phakathi koSenzo nomunye ke wabangeneleli lo mngeneleli leyo intruder beku-intruder yokuqala futhi lo obenama dreadlocks.
Do you understand that?
Uyazwisisa?
ya ngiyezwa
Yes, I hear that.
So would you was between
Ukuthi umngeneleli wesibili usabe unyawo phansi lapho.
ya ngingabavumela kulokho ngingabakuvumela ukuthi balwa nalowo babambisana nalowo okuqala because yena umuntu okuqala wavelela la eminyango
I would agree with that there was some tussling that took place between Senzo and the first intruder, because he is, by the way,
another down Senzo until the first shot went off.
Uthi basho njalo ke bathi uSenzo wabambana nalona obephethe isibhamu obe nama dreadlocks ufikela leso sikhathi ke kuxhuma isibhamu basho njalo laba
wangenela edining ampele kulo wesibili ongakabonakala because ukuthi kwaenda pha kanjani esebamba lo wesibili bephushelana kuze kufika ngasesicabheni angazi kwakwenzela kanjani konke lokho.
The initial tussle was with the first one.
Yes.
As to how he eventually got to have a tussle with the second person, I don't know how it happened. And then pinned him against the door there. I don't know how it came about.
And okunye makuqhuma isibhamu
Another
isibhamu
thing.
siqhume sesilana Senzo ngas.
Thank you. Because having
Senzo lo la endlini mhlambe ke kube ukuthi umfanisa nomunye umuntu lapha endlini okanye uyamshintsha
with either the fair to see that Senzo is now embroiled in a tussle with
leli wokuqala lo wesibini ubuzokwazi ukubona lokho ukuthi nangoke uSenzo ubambene nalo wokuqala okanye ubambene nalo
it because I might not.
ufuna ukukhuluma izinto
Thank you.
ubuzokuthi
This might not have happened. This might not have happened in your all.
ukukhuluma ngakhona kodwa ke khona okushintshe njalo ke angikwazi ukuthi
Fuse man.
you're confusing
Russia in South Africa. Russia is in. As it is the court, my lord. I've said to you, there's a point that I would want us to park. I'll immediately come back to it. I'm back to that point.
khona yakhombole khona lephuzo nje ake silibeka kancane sophinde sibuyele kulo
Yes ngiyakhumbula.
sesiyabuyela kulo ke manje
Yes, that is what I want you to explain. There is something that you wanted to explain about the movement from the dining room into the kitchen and all those things. Can you please re-explain
khona
that?
into
Repeat
No,
that.
let me say to the witness. The witness is correct. Put it to him that this is what he said when he was being cross-examined by Mr. Rapeleti, for instance. Now you're saying to him, there's something that you said that you went to the dining room or this or that or that. It can't be a question. Put it as he uttered it.
As it please the court, my lord. Let me try to paraphrase you.
awuthi ngeke ngizame kuyifinya lento
You said, as the tussle was happening from the dining room into the kitchen, Senzo was in commotion or was fighting the gentleman with the person with the firearm, not so.
okuso kanjalo ukuthi okusuka edining room kuya ngale ngasekitchen uSenzo ulwisana nalomlisa obephethe isibhamu
Yes uqala kwakhe nje ukusukuma uqale kulo and bengayedwa bekhona no Kelly no Zani.
the first time that he stood up he accosted this particular person he was not alone
Yes,
he was with Kelly Nozandi and Zandi Kumar
Yes.
thank you. Am I correct, Mr. Matlala, in saying that in your evidence, or I can't remember whether it was in evidence in chief or when you were being cross-examined, you said at the commencement of the tussle from the dining room, you actually were not a participant, you were seated down.
usho kanjalo uma lokubamba nokuqala khona laphana edining room wena ubuyihlele phansi ilokho kushilo
Not exactly ukuthi bengihleli phansi.
Yeah.
Yena umuntu uqhamuke ngihleli phansi. After sekusukuma abantu benami emva kwaloko ngisukumile.
Yeah.
Yes.
not exactly when the person appeared
Yes.
I was still seated and the people then stood up and they were the very first people to stand up and accost that particular person and then I also stood up.
Thank you. But am I then correct if I understood you to mean that you got into the fray after approximately everybody was involved or got involved in the fray?
Usho ukuthi wena uye kamuva emva kokuthi laba abanye bonke baye khona lapho ke bayolwisana nalomuntu.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, according to you, Senzo accosted the person with the firearm and pushed him into the kitchen,
So njalo ke ukuya
being
ngawe
assisted by all those who were in the house.
uSenzo wambamba ke lona ke okanye waya kulona obephethe isibhamu emphusha ke kanjalo esizwa ke amanye amalungu abekhona ngalapha endlini.
Yes.
Yes,
uqinisile.
that is true.
But then subsequent thereto, Senzo is now fighting the second intruder. And you also get into the fray of fighting against the second intruder by assisting Senzo to hit the second intruder with the clenched fist.
Emva kwalokho napho uSenzo uselwisa lona owesibili. Nawe uba ingxenye yokubambana kwaSenzo nalo wesibili.
Yes, intention yami kwakuphuma.
Yes.
And advocate angeke ngichaze yonke into ebeyenzakala each and every step because ngingachaza before.
Yes, my intention was to exit. And further advocate, I cannot explain every little detail of what was transpiring in there.
Yes.
Because nginezathu zami advocate. Makwenzeka into kanje mawuthola usesimene sikanje. Ngeke ngachaza before ukuthi kulula komunye umuntu ukuthi athi hayibo kwenzeka kanjani ukuthi enye into ngalinganisela ngani.
Yes.
Ukutholile eziyale imoto ziyale kodwa uyithola ukuthi isigini lapha ngalawana ukuthi ibheke kanjani ngala. So ezinye izinto awuzazi zenzeka kanjani because wezenzeka fast. Yabo. And isimi ngikusona ngaleso sikhathi. Ufuna usunderstand now.
Because I had my own reasons. There are times when things are happening, and another person who was not a part of that predicament that you find yourself under would ask you questions. They would, ask you, how did this happen? How did that happen?
Yes.
Let me give you an example. For example, you are driving in this lane.
Yes.
All the cars are moving into that direction. All of a sudden, your vehicle is now turning and perhaps skidding around in the road and facing a different direction within the same lane. Now you ask yourself, how are you going to deal with that particular situation?
Thank you. I want to be very sincere and honest with you.
Yes.
That actually does happen.
Ngifuna ukusho
In
lokho
human nature,
kuyenzeka.
it does happen.
Kuyenzeka lokho.
Yabo.
Yes, thank you very much.
And you probably had read my mind, because I would have asked you, how did you then Senzo let go of the first intruder and went into the second intruder?
Yabona ukungekwenza ukuthi uye wangifunda umthondo. Ngoba ngifuna ukusho ukuthi ukukubuza ukuthi uSenzo wayekela lokuqala nini okanye kanjani wangena kulo wesibili.
Mhlambe sicabanga ukufanele ngakho sibancane kanje.
Maybe we're thinking alike, and that is
Me
why
and you.
maybe we're thinking alike, and that is why the both of us are slimmer like that.
Aye.
Yeah, ngiyakuzwa ngiyakuzwa
proceed.
yeah
No, I
ungaqhubeka.
hear you, advocate. You can
okay.
proceed. You
Yeah.
can proceed.
But you know the gist of the testimony that we got from Zandile and Mthokozo Sithwala is that from the dining room where you were seated up until the kitchen where finally the shot was heard, Senzo has at all material times been in tussle with the firearm person, although along the road or on their way to the kitchen. But tutulana lo wesibili.
Now, uthi ulokho njalo ngayicethisa lethu ukuthi okulona daba olukhulu khona lana ukuthi uSenzo sonke lesikhathi okuqhamuka kulobufakazi balabo bufakazi ababili ube loke ebambene nalona obephethe isibhamu ukufika ke ukusuka ngase-dining room ukufika ngase-kitchen mhlambe ke kwaze kwafika naleso sikhathi la befike khona bebambana nalo wesibili.
Mr. Miss indlela ayicabanga ngakhona leyo nto uyayisho kimi.
Is it how you perceive this whole thing, or is it are you putting it to me? Is it your perception about what transpired there, or are you actually putting it to me?
I'm telling you what this court has heard from Thokozisi and Zandi.
Ngikutshela ngalokho inkantolo yakuzwa okwakuthulwa ke njengobufakazi la enkantolo umthokozisi noZandi
Do you understand?
ukuthi sonke ke lesikhathi uSenzo beloko elwisana nalomlisa obephethe isibhamu kuye.
That's not true.
That is not true.
Njengoba ngisho
No,
ukuthi
it
masiqhuma
is.
isibhamu besinawo Senzo la ngasemnyama.
As I have already said that when the firearm went off, I was together with Senzo there by the door.
Yes.
Ukuthi ke icourt awuyisho into oyicabangayo wena. Yabo icourt ngeke uyisho into oyicabangayo. So engikusho ukuthi isiqhuma nje isibhamu kokuqala besilano Senzo naye ngasemnyama.
Now it's that a person cannot really express what they are thinking before this honorable court. But what I am trying to explain to this honorable court is that when the firearm went off, I was together with Senzo there by the door,
Nayo lo muntu omude.
including that intruder.
Now the second intruder.
Sikhuluma ngalo wesibili.
Yes.
That's correct, yes.
We are together there. That is what you're saying.
Sisonke ke lapho
Yes.
yilokho kushoyo.
Yes.
Yes.
But on the other hand, two people who were in the house, in the same house in which you were, who witnessed the same incident that you witnessed, have come and told this court that as and when the shot went off, Senzo was in tussle with the firearm guy.
Yabona ke ilokho wena ukubonile. Khona laba bawu2 abebekhona nabo lapha yana endlini. Bathi ke nabo babonile lokho kubonile kodwa ke bona bathi mabathula ubufakazi babo. Bathi isibhamu uma siqhuma uSenzo ube lokho ebambene nalomlisa ke bephethe isibhamu.
So you're saying they saw something wrong?
Usho ukuthi manje lokho abakubonile iphutha.
No, ukuthi ngiyaconfuseka. Into edala ukuthi ngiconfuseke.
I get confused, and this is the reason why I get to be confused.
Into edala ukuthi ngiconfuseke.
Yes.
If basho njalo, angengeni kakhulu into abayishilo. Since ungibuza ngazo, if basho njalo bona if bethu Senzo bebhizi nalo isibhamu. Bona bebhizi nobani.
Now, I am not going to dispute what they are actually saying. If they say that Senzo has been busy or tussling with this particular person that was in possession of the firearm, who were they busy with in the first place while that was happening?
And Mr. Mnisi lo ngitshela kona kuyikona.
Yes.
And Mr. Mnisi, whatever that I'm telling you
Yes.
is the truth. That's how things happened.
Be rest assured, Mr. Madlala, I am not saying that you're not being honest, you're not being dishonest with this court, and I'm not saying that they've been dishonest with the court, which is the reason why we're trying to probe.
Angikusho ke lokho ukuthi wena ke awuthembakali la phambi kwenkantolo. Futhi angikusho ukuthi nabo abazange bathembeke la enkantolo. Ingani lokho ke siloko sizama ke ukuyihlaziya ke lento.
Indeed, the fact that you're just mentioning that you're getting confused. Everybody's confused. The court is confused. I'm confused. Colleague for the state is confused.
I'm not confused.
May I withdraw with the greatest respect the very first portion of the confusion thing. I mean, I am confused. You are, in fact, let me start with you. You've just said you are confused. It's true. You are confused. I am confused. My colleagues seem to be in 6s and 7s. My colleague for the state seems to be 9 and 10s about confusion. This is the reason why we're requesting you to unconfuse us. Is it you who's telling the truth in terms of your observation, or they could be mistaken? You know, mistakes do happen in the process of observation, not so.
Yabona ngititekile, utitekile, nalaba engisebenza kanye nabo. Abana assistance, mangibheka nangapha kumshushisi naye. Ngicabangeke ukuthi unayo leyo nto leyo ukuthi kuqhamile kuye. Akuzameke ukuthi usikhiphe kulolu bishi lokudideka.
Yes.
Mr. Mnisi, mangabuza kahle, ngengezwe ngestatement sakhe ukuthi wayebona through iwindi kunomuntu oyigqoka isikiphe esimhlophe.
Now, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
I heard the statement from Kaya
Yes,
that there is a person that was standing at the window with a white T-shirt.
yes.
So wayezombona kanjani umuntu engekho la eduze kwesicapha kuma ngithi mina first intruder ibisemva kwami kwakumele ayibone mayilepha wayibona kanjani usenzo la wayifunani la ngasefastereni.
Now, he wouldn't have noticed or perhaps witnessed that
Yes.
if indeed the intruder was not on the door side. And what was Senzo doing there at the window if there was no one also that was from behind me?
Because lokhaya uthi wabona umuntu oneskipa esimhlophe la ewindini
No, because Kaya said that he saw a person with a white T-shirt at the window.
Yes.
nginamanga.
Am I lying?
I thought you were trying to unconfuse us.
Now,
Now, you're taking us from the...
So ekuchaza khona ukuthi
Understand.
lokho engisho ukuthi besilana lo muntu ngasefastereni
Yeah.
ngasemnyango kuyiqiniso.
Yeah.
That is why nokhaya abona.
That actually means that the fact that we were on the door side, close to the
Yes.
window there,
Yes.
it is the truth,
Yes.
which is the reason why also Kaya could see the same thing.
Mr. Madlala,
Yes, Mr.
I
Miss.
thought when you started to proffer that explanation, or to give that explanation, you were responding to my request that you should unconfuse us. But what you just did, you took us from the frying pan into the fire. You took us to the
Manje-
deepest
manje,
end. We
bengicabanga
were further
ukuthi wena-ke
confused.
Uzozama-ke ukwenza ukuthi kugqame la kithini, kodwa-ke akubuya ngathi ukuthi manje ususifake-ke ebumnyameni bokugcinayo manje.
The witness is giving an explanation. How can it be said that it's confusing? If my learned friend has got an issue with that, he can raise it in argument.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you. Mr. Kaya,
Tumelo Madlala.
Tumelo Matlala.
Mr. Madlala, I'm sorry, sir.
Someone is confused.
Mr. Madlala,
Yeah, Mr. Minister.
thank you.
Yes, Mr.
Would you
Minister.
then agree with me that what you have just said, you have said, and what Thokozisi and Zandi have said, they're not the same, they're different.
Uyakuvuma lokho ukuthi okwakhulunywa-ke uMthokozisi noZandi nalokho wena okukhulumayo akufani.
Statement zaba ngaze ngayifunda everything ngizwa la ecourt. So angaze ngayifunda. Wonke umuntu la wenza statement sakhe.
I've never read their statements. I only heard about their statements right here in court. Every person is concerned with their own statements.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. That which they have told this court, and that which you have told this court, not the same.
Yilokho engikushoyo. Lokho abakutshela inkantolo nalokho wena ukutshela inkantolo akufani.
Akusiwo umsebenzi wami ukubona lokho. Okwakho Mr. Minister I think ukubuza mina ngesami esiqondene nami. So mase songena kakhulu kwezabanye abantu angeke ngikwazi ukuchaza ngazo kakhulu mina. Ngizochaza ngale kubhalwe yimi kwasayinelwa yimi.
I won't be able to explain the contrast of the statements.
Yes.
That should not be coming to me.
Yes.
Mine is to just give my statement based on what I have said.
Yes. Now, on the basis of this glaring contradiction, would it not have been a dreadful error of a mistaken identity on your part that the person who you saw being in tussle with Senzo, wherein you came to assist, was accused number 2?
Awucabanga ukuthi wenze iphutha elikhulu kakhulu mayelana-ke nalomlisa obebambene naye uSenzo la wena uye wangena khona-ke waba yingxenye yaloko wabamba iqhaza. Awucabanga ukuthi uyenze iphutha ukuthi uthi ummangalelwa wesibili.
Angizange ngilenze iphutha mthenisi and soze ngalenza iphutha ngale ndoda le. Njengoba ngikusho lokho ngikhuluma ngento engayibona soze ngisukele umunye umuntu nje for nothing.
I've never made a mistake, and I will never make a mistake, Mr. Mnisi. I will never just go and, point a person who's not the real culprit. This is the person. I have never made that mistake.
Without laboring on this point, Mr. Mahlala, Zandi and Tumelo said, as and when
Zandi and me.
Mthokozisi,
Oh.
I'm sorry. When Zandi and Mthokozisi told this court that as and when the shot went off, the person that Senzo was fighting with was the person who had dreadlocks, as against the fact that you are saying as and when the shot went off, the person that Senzo was fighting with was the second suspect.
Yabona uZandi noMthokozisi bathi ngenkathi iqhuma isibhamu uSenzo ubelwisana nalomlisa obe nama dreadlocks. Kanti lokho kuyagcubuzana nalokho wena ukushoyo ukuthi uma kuxhuma isibhamu uSenzo ubambene nalomlisa esithi ke umsola wesibili.
Do you
Uzwa
understand?
Ngiyakuzwa lokho ngeke ngikhulume ngakho kakhulu lokho kwecourt ukuthi kujaji mina ngithulela ubufakazi bami
I cannot
bathumelo Madlala.
I cannot delve much into that. That should be left in the hands of the court to decide.
Thank you.
I am merely presenting the evidence that has to do with me,
Thank you.
Tumelo Madlala.
Now, on the basis of that analogy and on that contradiction, I'm putting it to you that you had made a terrible mistake in your identification of the person who Senzo was in tussle with as and when the firearm went off.
Ngenxa yokugqubuzana ke kwalobo bufakazi. Bufakazi bakho, bufakazi balabo bufakazi ababili. Ngithi ke ngibeka kuwe ukuthi wenze iphutha ukuthi umuntu obekade ebambene noSenzo umsolwa wesibili ngenkathi kuxhuma isibhamu. Kanti ke akusiyena umsolwa wesibili ngoba ke labayana bathe umsolwa wokuqala. Manje wena akwenza iphutha ngibeka kuwe uthini ngalo?
Ithi ngitshele
Mr. Ramuse, please represent the accused number 2. I don't know on what basis is counsel now making the submission. Has he got instructions to to that effect?
As it
Yes,
is
Mr. Mnisi.
as it is a court, my lord.
I'm listening.
Thank you, my lord. My lord, it is immaterial whether I'm here on behalf of accused number 3, or on behalf of number 4, or on behalf of number 5. But in circumstances where I realize, or it is realized, actually not only me, but my colleagues here at large, that there's an aspect that needs to be brought to the attention of the court, which ultimately is going to assist the court to come to a just and an equitable finding. I will be doing a very grave injustice, my lord, to keep that under my armpit.
Okay, I hear you.
Because at another level, my lord, my integrity as an officer of this court will be called to question. And I don't want the thing to happen to me now. Thank you, my lord.
ake silungise lento yephutha Mr. Mnisi.
Asilungise.
Mawuthi ngenza iphutha.
Yeah.
Angenzange iphutha.
Let's fix this mistake that you're referring to, that I committed an error there. I did not commit any error.
Yes.
By pointing lo ngiyakutshela nama ngisangampointa na after 20 years angenzange iphutha ngento ubulungiswa lapho.
You
Nephutha.
see, when I pointed this one off,
Yes.
by me pointing at this person,
Yes.
I did not commit any error.
Yes.
And I'm saying that even after 20 years,
Yes.
I will still point him out.
Yes.
That is not commission of error.
Yes.
That is called justice.
Something is pulling me.
Sebenza into. Hawu, ungakwazi Mr. Mnisi nesikhathi sonke kodwa usho.
Don't worry, Mr. Mnisi. We've got all the time here. That is what you said.
Thank you. Mr. Madala, I see you very adamant that even after 20 years, I've just mentioned to you that with years and age, people lose who they are with a lapse of time.
Ngiyabona ukuthi unokuzethemba kodwa lapho uyasho futhi uyagcizelela ukuthi nangemva kweminyaka ewu-20 ngibeka kuwe ke abantu isikhathi basibele sendlula ke ukhona lokho ukuthi balahlekelwe amandla wabo ukukhumbula.
Finally, my parting shot is, in as much as you strongly believe that it could have been the second suspect that you saw on that day, you believe might have led you to make a grave error of a mistaken identity.
Yabona phezu kokuthi ke wena unaloku kwezethemba okumayelana ke uyakholelwa ekutheni umangalelwa wesibini wenze lento lena. Lokho ke kungahle kwenzeka ukuthi wena wenza iphutha okuyilona iphutha elikhulu kakhulu uma uthi umangalelwa wesibini.
Lokho kubona Mr. Mnisi lokho kubona mhlambe kumina yazi ukuboniswa yini ave kumnandi ukukhuluma into yaziyo akufani umuntu okhuluma into angayazi.
You know it's
Lezwa ngimfuthu nje.
the energy that I actually have, it is so good. It feels good because now I'm talking about a person that I know. It's unlike talking about a person that you don't know. That's why you see me with this energy.
Thank you. I say that was my parting shot.
Yes.
A mistaken belief on the identity of a person. That will be my parting. Thank you, Madam. I've got no further questions.
Thank you. What's the time, Mr. Valerie?
It's 14 minutes past 3, my lord.
Mr. Numan, are you going to ask one or two questions? No. Hello? No. Oh, are you going to be long?
Yes, I will do it.
Okay, so we're here until when?
Tomorrow, my
You want to success. You want to success
I told you he's confused.